Well, that's what they say, Kyle, is that physical fitness is a dangerous pathway to being a right-wing jerk. And I think we can all be okay with that. DarbyCast, Wildcard Friday. Kyle and I were talking about physical fitness and being a right-wing jerk. And quite naturally, that transports us all to a special place. Physical strength is important. We all know this. That's why we've been working on our core strength all summer. And you don't necessarily need to have a six-pack, or if you're a lady listening to this, you don't need to have the butter knife 4-pack, but it might make sense to increase your core strength by maybe 10, 13, 14% this summer. No problems there. But I'm thinking about physical fitness, but I'm also thinking about, as we all are, fitness of the heart, fitness of the spirit. And where does that take us, Kyle? Quite obviously, 17th century France in a lot of ways. Follow me on this. France is a hellhole right now, and it is under assault, but there was a time when it was great. Some of the longtime listeners get the sense that I am teasing at something amazing right now, and quite obviously I am. Beauty and the Beast, Kyle. Great story, a lot of powerful themes that are still applicable to this day. Okay? Why don't we just jump right into it? Because the original version is long. But we're going to do a nice condensed format. It's going to be poetic. It's going to be insightful. It's going to be inappropriate in some capacity. But that's what people come to the DarbyCast for. They're saying, give me the perfect blend. Give me a smoothie of inappropriateness and courage and some cruelty-free connection and authenticity. What a recipe for health. You might think you know the story of Beauty and the Beast if you're listening to this right now, and let me issue a quick little disclaimer for the new listeners. Get the hell out of here. Get lost while you still can, because chances are this episode's going to land so squarely with you that you're going to go listen to a bunch of other episodes, and then your whole life's going to be really sweet. And if you're a total boner and you want to stay in that state of being a melancholy mess, then this is going to completely undermine all your efforts. But let's jump right into it. Place yourself squarely in the idyllic 17th century French countryside. Zero Islamic caliphate in sight. Rolling hills are met with meadows, and the fragrance of blossoming flowers permeates through the air. Deep within the heart of an enchanted forest, shrouded in mystery, Kyle, and ancient magic as well, stands a majestic castle, very impressive. Its turrets reach the heavens, and its stone walls whisper secrets of a forgotten era. Within its hallowed halls, an enchantment has befallen a once handsome prince, transforming him into a fearsome beast, a creature caught between the realms of man and monster, his soul yearning for the light of love to pierce through the darkness that cloaks him. Son of a bitch, we are off to a good start. Centuries ago, a beggar witch, wronged and scorned by society, according to her, she was super out of shape, didn't have a whole lot of good looks, got into witchcraft, and then somebody told her about body positivity. And so she was walking around with all this arrogance and an attitude that was just repulsive. Kind of that, if you can't handle me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best. And it's like, babe, who are you kidding? Nobody wants to do you. But she shows up at the castle. Beast opens the door and he's like, ugh.
How can I help you? Are you selling something? Boy, are you unsightly.
Not the way you want to greet anybody at the door, right? That's pretty inappropriate. But the witch is like, no, I just want to stay at your place. And I guess that's a creative idea, but like, come on, that ain't gonna work. And this is pre-Beast Beast. He's just a cool guy, handsome fella. And what does he say, Kyle? He says,
Babe, you're a pig, and nobody wants to do ya. Did you really think you were going to pull this off? Honestly, eat a salad, get your hair done, and lower your standards. This is insane.
Now, there's a couple things that we can actually celebrate about what is going on with Beast right now. One, he's living in France, but has a British accent and speaks English pretty well. Two, very honest, direct. You don't see that very often these days. But he did not dock that cruise ship in the port. He could have handled that with a lot more social tact. The witch flips out and she curses him. And she says, "You're fucking screwed. Appearances aren't everything, Beast." Handsome, charming fellow in the castle responds and he says,
That's true. But good Lord, lady, I'm a 10 and you're a 2.5 on your best day, which certainly isn't today. I can tell you that much. Also, I'm curious. You addressed me as Beast. Not sure what that's about, but you're not winning me over with your strong, independent woman vibes and boss babe sassiness. Frankly, it's really off-putting.
Which is just getting pummeled with truth bombs. A carpet bombing of reality is happening, and she is not taking it well, but she says, you're going to be turned into a beast, you're going to have fangs, you're going to be hairy, you're going to be disgusting, you will maintain your physique. I still want to tell you that you're a good-looking guy, and he just is not having it at all. Take the loss, right, lady? Like, it's over. But she hits him with this curse, and she says, this is only going to be broken when you learn to love a chick and earn their love in return before the final petal of this enchanted rose falls. Witch bounces, goes to whatever the 17th century equivalent of Arby's is, and just lets herself go. The exact opposite of what she should be doing, which is like exercising and eating well, right, Kyle? The years go by, and Beast just learns to live with his condition. He gets really into knowledge, starts studying stuff, but he's pretty lonely. Not okay. Fast forward a number of years later, in a nearby village nestled beneath the castle's imposing shadow, the vibrant life of a provincial townsfolk is flourishing. Everybody's doing their job and having a pretty damn good time doing it. Nice social cohesion. Among the townsfolk, there's a young gal named Belle, and she is just radiating beauty inside and out. Her raven locks cascade like a silken waterfall, Kyle, and her emerald eyes hold a depth hinting at her being an old soul, good at conversation, no time for BS. But Belle's the total package. She's not just a hot chick. She's got a spirit that's incredible, an appetite for knowledge, a love of the Lord, and a compassionate heart. She's always just trying to mend the broken fragments of the world around her, be they fences or people. Kyle, is there a specific profession title for people who do a good job at mending fences? You could look that up right now in your spare time, if you would. But despite the adoration and advances of many suitors, Belle is just so wet for something more profound than the superficial charms offered by the local bachelors, including but not limited to Gaston. Big guy, strong guy, gets a lot of protein on a daily basis. Kind of an a-hole, though. She's seeking a connection, Kyle. A love that's going to ignite her spirit and inspire her to explore the vast expanse of her potential. So let's focus on Gaston, local jack, hunter, huge dude. He's totally consumed by his own vanity, and he thinks he's pretty sweet, just the embodiment of perfection, a paragon of masculine virtue. And in a lot of ways, he's actually right. He's yoked and he's good for the house. Like if you had a frat, Gaston would be getting a bid. Make no mistake about it. Gaston's got just a full-on French rager for Belle, but he's not that interested in her at all. He sees her as an object and a prize for him to boost his own ego. That stupid son of a bitch. So already we've got some divergent personalities in these two jacked bros. Exercise-forward right-wing nut jobs. We've got one guy who's a mysterious loner, down for books and working out by himself. Whereas we've got Gaston, who is all about going to the gym, putting on a good show for the ladies there. No stranger to a high five with the other guys at the gym. And a lot of the chicks at the gym want him in a huge way. Very different lifestyles, Kyle. Gaston's got his eyes on Belle, though. He doesn't care about these gym hookers. But in the shadows of his pursuits, a woman by the name of, what? That's right, Katrina, who possesses a dangerous allure and a penchant for manipulation, Kyle, slithers into his path. And with her seductive charms and calculated whodunits, she bewitches Gaston, casting a spell upon his heart and penis, blinding him to the true essence of love. And under Katrina's spells, Gaston's desires twist into nonsense, leading him astray from the path of genuine connection. How does Katrina do that? What does she say to him? She says,
"Hey, Gaston, couldn't help but notice you don't have a full-time boner garage in your life. And if you're looking for free parking, I know about 2 or 3 special spots for you."
Kind of poetic, but also pretty off-putting. But Gaston is a steroid user. His testosterone levels, although we respect high T, it's a little too high, right? And he's overcome with lust. And then Katrina keeps whispering these sweet nothings into his ear. She says,
"Gaston, just a quick little FYI, anal is my first base, like real talk, backdoor city. You're about to become the mayor if you catch my drift, you ivory dinosaur. Seriously, like, do you want a piece of this caboose, you big jerk? All aboard, full speed ahead."
Yuck, right? Some dudes are into that, but boy, is that not Christian. But let's pivot. Belle's doing her thing, mending a lot of fences, having conversations with other villagers who seem like they're just not okay. She lends an ear, sometimes some key advice. If they ask, she's not going around giving unsolicited advice. She knows better than that. Belle is amazing, right? And amazing people typically have amazing parents. Belle's father, Maurice, good guy, inventor, pretty eccentric, pretty wacky, Kyle. He's a good dude. He's raised his daughter, but his wife passed away after she sustained a broken heart when both of her parents died in a high-speed carriage chase. They were trying to evade the law. Took a pretty nasty spill, and that was that. But their daughter, Maurice's wife, was inconsolably morose, and she stopped eating one day. Shortly thereafter, she expired. And so Maurice, a once good father, was overwhelmed with melancholy, and boy, did he turn to the bottle, Kyle. And boy, was his fall pronounced. He went from village inventor to village idiot and progressed all the way to village dumbass, Kyle. And we hate to see that, a grief-stricken heart, not okay. Thankfully, though, Belle got both parents for most of her life. But now Belle is 23 and a half, just had her half birthday. She thought about celebrating that half birthday, but then didn't. And boy, is that a breath of fresh air. Because anybody who celebrates half birthdays, get them out of here, right? But she's got no mom, and her dad is a ghost compared to his former self. In a spiritual sense, he's not actually a wailing spirit or anything like that. But Belle's mom is toast, and her dad, the lights are on, but no one's home. You ever seen somebody who's really tanked? They just have this vacant look in their eyes. Very unattractive. Maurice could have been taken down older chicks, probably seniors in the village, if he could just pull it together. But he's just stumbling around, face planting into piles of horse shit. And it's happening so regularly that people are starting to talk. And they're saying, is he doing this on purpose? And nobody knows. So concerning. But one day Maurice is blitzed, going for the high score in a drinking game that only he is playing. And he wanders off into the forest. Nature's wrath brews overhead, and dark clouds loom, and thunder growls in the distance. Maurice seeks refuge from this storm, and he stumbles upon the castle, a relic of forgotten grandeur, cloaked in an eerie stillness. Very spooky, Kyle. Unbeknownst to Maurice, this castle holds the key to his daughter's destiny. Within its walls, shadows dance and secrets whisper from cobwebbed corners. The spookiness deepens, Kyle. And in the castle, he encounters the Beast, a creature trapped in a prison of his own making. Arguably, it was the witch's making, the ugly one, who was really into body positivity. What a joke. But he's haunted by the weight of his past mistakes. Not just turning away a stranger. Beast, formerly Alexandre. Kyle, am I saying that well? Alexander in a French accent? Alexandre? I feel like I'm nailing that. But Beast was no stranger to tax evasion. None of these transgressions occur in a vacuum. You don't just turn away strangers. You don't just engage in tax evasion. There's a deeper, darker weight in Beast's life. And that underlying thought, Kyle, is I'm not good enough, right? He's putting on a show and saying, I'm too good for you, you old hag, which was pretty much true. But he was also saying, I'm too good to pay my taxes. But deep down, he didn't feel like enough. But Beast is eyeballing the completely obliterated Maurice, who is just wandering around aimlessly and happens upon this enchanted rose. And Maurice is totally blacked out, doesn't know what he's doing, starts working his way towards this enchanted rose. That's a big deal, Kyle. It's a big part of the curse because the petals are falling off. But if Maurice knocks this thing off the table, there's going to be problems. We don't know what kind of problems, but we just get that sense, right? Beast intervenes, and all of a sudden Maurice, totally incoherent, is staring death in the face. That's what Beast represents to Maurice in this moment. Beast makes sure that the hammered fella, Maurice, doesn't run into the rose, and he sees this opportunity, and he's like, I think we could do something with you. And Maurice is like, who's we? Out of the woodwork pops a talking clock named Hector. Fun fact, used to be Beast's accountant who encouraged him to commit tax fraud. And so he's not in a good spot as a clock. Nobody wants to live that way. Kyle, you will be one of Beast's magical companions now. So Kyle, the letter opener, reveals himself. Very sharp letter opener as well, Kyle. You float to Maurice's neck. You don't know anything about this guy, Kyle, and you're just jumping into the moment. You're totally out of bounds. Kyle, your backstory, you're one of Beast's fencing partners, and he bounced the idea of tax evasion off of you. He told you that Hector was pushing him down a pretty sketchy path, and you said, I'm fine with it. And although none of us are really excited about the way you're conducting yourself right now, Kyle, we get it in some capacity. Your typical daily duties consist of, as a letter opener, opening up hate mail from the townsfolk addressed to Beast saying, we think you're ugly and stupid and inappropriate and your dick smells and you're not good at sports. Now let's take a pause. I could deal with those comments if they came out of a person's mouth, but if they were immortalized in a written letter, that would get to me. But Kyle, you're a good guy. You don't show Beast those letters, but you're still reading them just in case it's like friendly correspondence, some kind of a kid in a far-off kingdom writing his prison pen pal, Beast, with encouraging words of affirmation. I believe in you. Keep it up. Beast has never received a letter from a kid that sounds like that. But Kyle, you as the letter opener, you're hopeful. We all are in a lot of ways. But Beast says to Maurice,
I'm going to lock you up in the depths of the castle, and I will not be serving you any alcohol whatsoever.
This registers with Maurice. He's sobering up a little bit, and he's just like, no! And so then he gets shackled up. The news of Maurice's disappearance reaches Belle, and it shatters her world like a fragile crystal glass. Fueled by her unyielding love for her father, she embarks on a treacherous journey to find him. Her heart, a compass, guiding her through the labyrinthine paths of the enchanted forest. This journey would test her in ways she could never have imagined, unveiling the depths of her own strength and courage. She knows how to mend a fence. She knows how to give key coaching to commoners. But did she know how to rescue her wayward alcoholic father from a dangerous castle? You bet your ass there's no playbook for that, and we all know it. Belle makes it to the gates, and inside its opulent halls, a haunting melody fills the air, and a symphony of enchanted objects come to life, somewhat embodying the remnants of humanity left within the castle's walls. And I don't know about you, but I find that bone-chilling. Hector, the clock, greets Belle with a mixture of curiosity and multi-level marketing Ponzi schemes. And she is not having it. What does she say, Kyle?
Hi. I don't know what your deal is, but my father, before he succumbed to the deadly cocktail that is crushing alcoholism and terminal depression, taught me that sideways hucksters like yourself need to be ignored and occasionally drawn and quartered.
What an amazing girl Belle is. She's not afraid to tell somebody off and that they deserve a tremendously painful death if they don't get it together. Kyle, letter opener, shows up and says, ignore him. None of us like him at all. Please follow me. That's what you say, Kyle. So they're walking around the castle. Kyle lays out the beast's curse and everything that's going down. As Belle delves deeper into the castle, she feels the beast's presence because he's just really alpha, but like also dark and brooding. Pretty cool. Combination of ferocity and vulnerability. But she gets the sense real early that the key to her father's freedom is going to lie in seeing beyond the fearsome visage of the beast and embracing the beauty that resides in his troubled soul. Wow. Talk about something with a lot of modern parallels. There are a lot of broken heroes out in this world of ours who could really use the encouragement of a strong, not like the way that the liberal media uses it, but a strong woman who's feminine and has traditional values and is worth fighting for. Belle knows that about herself, that she is that gal and that she has influence. She encounters Beast, and he is not the best looking fella you've seen, but his physique makes up for it. She's like, I'm not into really hairy dudes, but nice pecs, good calves. Those aren't easy to build. Calf muscles take a while. And Beast needed to hear that. So they do a trade. And Beast says,
I'm going to let your train wreck of a dad take off, but you have to stay, and I get to plow you.
Shooters shoot, right? He's laying it on a little too thick, though. And Belle responds,
I agree to the first terms of your deal, but if you want to snack on my crepe, you're going to need to earn it and prove to me that I can trust you. I still have my V card, and I noticed you have some pretty dilapidated fences on your property. So if you can step up and stop acting like a rapist, you might get a whole lot more than you bargained for.
She's the total package, Kyle. Also, she's interested in books, but not interested in going off to college and getting triple teamed at a frat party. You can be a sharp gal without doing keg stands and waving your lady parts in the air. I tell you what. Many of you right now are wondering, what of Gaston? What of Katrina? More of the same. She's saying really slutty stuff to him, and he's enjoying it. What a shallow relationship that is, though, Kyle. Katrina is draining Gaston's life force, one whodunit at a time. He just looks tired these days. And she is encouraging him to do things that compromise everything about him. What does she say to Gaston one day, Kyle? As Belle and Beast are getting to know each other, doing things right, going on dates in various wings of the castle. And might I add that Belle is giving Beast quite a bit of coaching because he says a lot of stuff that's just pretty out of bounds. She has to remind him more than a few times, like, reel it in, big guy. But he's pretty high T. He's a beast. She knows that. She's not going to hold that against him. She likes the attention. She likes that Beast has a fire burning in his heart and his loins. No problems there. But meanwhile, back in the village, Katrina is whispering to Gaston,
You should go fight someone. That would be so hot. Like, I get so hot when I see a fight go down. So, guess what? You're not getting any tang until you beat the shit out of someone. Pool's closed.
Pool's closed. And although that's kind of a cool way of saying what she's doing isn't cool at all. She's reducing herself to a physical object. And deep down, she knows that's all she can offer Gaston in the first place. Katrina does not have a ton of redeeming qualities other than her rockin' tight body. And that's good enough for Gaston in a lot of ways. But again, what a surface level relationship. Using lovemaking as a bargaining chip. How low can you go? But Gaston takes the bait. And he rallies up a bunch of his homeboys and gets torches and pitchforks, and they go to the Beast's castle. And all the guys that Gaston is with are such losers, and they're like, Gaston's gonna get some pussy, yeah! I guess that's kind of cool, but like, how about you worry about your team and I'll worry about mine? Belle and Beast are totally hitting it off. But then all those bros, the homeboys, they show up with all their tools of war. A lot of rakes. And it's like, guys, what are you even doing with those? Swords exist, so do spears. Really sloppy choice. Gaston, not the best guy we've ever heard of, but he is a leader. He says, all right, guys, storm the gates. And so he sends all of his homeboys in, and he kind of waits. Kyle, letter opener, incredibly sharp, yells out his signature catchphrase, which is what? Scroats and throats. And he just begins, as you might imagine, spilling beanbags and cutting arteries. And all the guys are toast. And then out walks Beast into the front yard. And he sees Gaston. And Gaston just looks like garbage. His flesh, total reflection of who he is, who he's becoming, in his heart. And Beast walks up to Gaston. Gaston pulls out a switchblade. And it's like, Gaston, put that away, you fucking pussy. But there's a big stare down going on between Beast and Gaston. Beast, determination in his eyes, love in his heart. He doesn't know what Gaston's intentions are. He might be coming to try to snake his chick. So Beast marches straight up to Gaston, and he says,
I could kill you so easily. Whatever you're thinking of doing, don't. We're going to go ahead and skip this whodunit. Judging by your sunken eyes and ghoulish complexion, I'd say you're linked up with an absolute semen demon. Call it a day, pal. Take the loss, go home, and cut that chick loose, whoever she is. I mean, my God, man. Your potential is huge, but the wrong lady in your life is going to wreck everything.
Belle is standing at the castle door. She hears all of this and she's fired up. She's like, wow, what a great guy. And Gaston even mumbles under his breath. He says, wow, what a great guy. And the curse is lifted. Kyle turns back into a normal person. Hector also turns back into a normal person. But then Kyle throws him off a bridge. Beast, now Alexandre, is at his best. Belle's stoked. Maurice gets his daughter back, and then he walks her down the aisle. Belle and Alexandre are united in holy matrimony, and then Belle loses her V card. Does it right. Better believe those fences get patched as well. Then the happy couple pop out about 7 children, who all become great leaders. Gaston dumps Katrina, and Katrina leaves the country, goes to the UK, and then is murdered by a serial killer. Belle's dad, Maurice, turns his life around, puts the bottle down, no longer focused on the dark past of losing his wife. He's thrilled about the future with his grandchildren. He starts inventing things again. He's still got that dark side a little bit to him, so he does focus most of his efforts in the invention department on weapons of war, a lot of cannons. But it is nice to see him back in the swing of things. Kyle becomes a postman and gives letters to people. And although you are tempted, Kyle, to open the letters before you deliver them, that's a chapter of your life that you're putting behind you. Good job. Right? Good job. What a testament to authentic, healthy relationships elevating all parties involved. Not just the 2 people, but the families, the people in the village, all of Gaston's fratty homeboys. They're toast. Remember, Kyle murdered them. But then what happened? That left room for Alexandre and Gaston to become friends, become lifting partners, and up each other's game. Gaston scaled back his steroid usage and gave some of the roids to Alexandre. So now they're both in a good lane of testosterone. Alexandre still goes by Beast a little bit because he is a beast in the gym. Beast loans some of those books that he has in his house to Gaston and teaches him how to read. And then all of a sudden, Gaston is attracting the right kind of women. And they say, wow, you have interesting things to say. And what does Gaston say to something like that? I want to plow you senseless. He still messes up sometimes. We all do. We don't always say the right things. But the right gal can give you a little bit of coaching from time to time. Be like, reel it in, Gaston. Reel it the fuck in. I want to encourage you to share this story with the people who matter the most in your life. People who will be open to a story like this, and some people who won't be open to a story like this at all. Although many of us can't reconstruct our V cards, we can rediscover our spirits. And that's precisely what Beast did. After all of this, he built an impressive cathedral and dedicated it to JC. Beast's Church of JC. Not bad. Not bad at all. But I think that's where we're going to park this one, Kyle. That's DarbyCast. That's Wildcard Friday.